Hello, my name's Scott McKee, and thank you for taking the time to view my project. Uh, my business is called Cuchillo. It's a Tagalog or Filipino word for knife. Let's see. It's a side business I've had for years of selling what they call EDC or everyday carry knives. I've collected knives when I was younger and went to trade shows and added and sold knives to my collection, and I've been selling the knives on and off for years. The following few slides are a few sample of the knives I have bought and sold recently. If you don't know anything about knives, they probably all look alike, but they're all various different qualities, different steels, a lot of variation. People I deal with, they know a lot about the knives, so you don't have to educate them very much. They usually know as much as you do, sometimes even more. There's some trade shows that I will be going to, at least the first two. The third one's a little ways off, so I don't know. I'll have to see what my schedule's like. Here is a company logo. It's kind of cutesy, I guess, with the alternating the caps and the lower case letters. Here's a business card that I would like to get that changed to use the company logo. Here is my tables. I have 5 tables so far. I've been using Excel and Word over the years. So this database is something I needed to create, in this class has pushed me into it, which is a good thing. So I've started off with 5 tables, a table that has the knives themselves, the inventory, the customers who are buying and selling knives to me. Salesperson, I'm really the only person that my better half sometimes, occasionally, but I went ahead and put that in there so I can build for the future. The actual orders would be like, you buy a knife or a bunch of knives, and then the order data, lists the individual knives and the quantity. All these, have like one-to-many relationships, as you can see. Here's the customer table. It has typical stuff you would think on a customer. Their ID, is auto-generated. First name, last name, their address, contact information. The orders are, again, the key is auto-generated. As the orders happen, one after another. There's not a lot of data here, because it's just some data I had laying around, but I do have some Excel documents that I might go and download or import in later. So, it's just the order ID, and then the customer ID, which is a foreign key, and then when it was sold and the price, and then the salesperson, which is usually just me. The order data, it gives the actual, it's a one-to-many relationship with the order. So it'll show like order 3 has 3 different knives, in the one order. And then you see order 7 has two individual entries, but they bought two of the same knife. So that feeds into the order table, and that gives you the total price. The knives table, you can see there is some information missing that I'm planning for the future, for the steel and the year they were produced. All these knives are built with different types of steel, and that's kind of a real gearhead thing for the people that buy the knives. They're into it's kind of a perfect storm. Some steels are really hard, but then they're hard to sharpen. Or some knives really carry a good edge and stay sharp a long time, but then they're not very strong. So they're trade-offs. So, you know, man, some of the knife steels are very expensive. And then some of the manufacturers use cheaper steels, but then are very good at hardening the steel over the years. So it's probably a bunch of technical information you don't want to know, but there's just a salesperson there right now. Like I said, basically it's just me, but there's one other person on there for now. There's the main menu that I put together with the logo, you know, close and quit access, you know, some queries, some forms, some reports, you know, there's a date. I'm sure I'm going to add more to this down the road and change it. I didn't have a lot of time to put this together, but I think it's a good start. Hopefully it's good enough to get a decent grade, but there's a cross tab with the blade, the knives, the length and the knife versus the length of the actual blade. Blade length's a big deal. I mean, there's different laws in different states, even different, you know, a lot of places, you know, like I've got 3 queries here. You know, there's 2 on this page and 1 on the next page, less than 2 inches for the actual blade itself. And then, you know, then less than 3 inches. Some places are, you know, they don't, if you put a pocket knife in your pocket, obviously put your pocket, and it's more than 2 inches, that can be considered a concealed weapon in some districts, some states, and some areas. So depending on where so it's important to know, you know, what you can buy and what you can sell in certain areas. 3 inches is another area. 2 inches is like, you know, California. 3 inches is more standard. Most places are okay with 3 inches. And then we have another, didn't fit on that page, you know, blade lengths that are greater than 3 inches. Personally, then, you know, I'll keep a knife in my car because it's a tool. You know, a longer blade gives you more functionality, usually gives you more strength. But, you know, the size of the blade is a big deal, you know, in the buying and selling of knives. Here's, you know, knives based upon, here's a product ID that I've come up with, you know, the brand and the name of the knife, the price, you know, how many are on hand. Again, there's a date produced, you know, because most of the knives I deal with are used. But I haven't entered that data in there yet. So that's something that's planning for the future. There's a, you know, a salesperson and, you know, in the orders, you know, generally it's all just me. Who knows down the road? You know, that's primarily I've been able to get away without having to actually use a database because I have, and I know all this information, but you know, other people, if they're involved, they don't know everything. They don't have it all memorized. Here's a customer master form. There's the navigation buttons. There's our logo, or my logo. It's a knife master form. There's each knife has an image. You know, I mean, I know what the knives look like, but if you get into it, you know, and you might record knives over time, you know, it might be nice to have a visual representation of the knife, you know, with a subform. That's just another version of the form. The detail is with the picture. You know, I put a bunch of forms together, and there's some basic reports on sales, you know, the inventory, you know, customer purchases. I mean, I'm going to be building more of this in the future. You know, there's a lot that needs to be done outside of the minimum requirements for the class. So this database will grow significantly as I go forward. Pros and cons. Like I said, this database needed to be created. You know, I've used you know, Word and Excel in the past. You know, I think that the tables are normalized to this point. That's a positive. You know, I didn't want to just use 3 tables, you know, because I want to try to build this to be useful, not just to get a grade. Some of the cons, there's a lot of data missing. Like I said, the hardness of the steel of the knife, in the year the knife was made. And then there's not any functionality built in for trades, because a lot of times people want to trade knives. That way they want to trade a knife, to get another knife, and then maybe pay some extra money. So there needs to be more functionality built into that. Like I said, I'm trying to build this database for my personal use to sell these knives. And so if you see anything that I'm lacking, outside of the grade, that could be useful, let me know. I mean, I know there's a lot of things that I need, but a number of eyes is better than just one set of eyes. And then some references. Due to the time constraints, the pictures of the knives, those are my actual knives, but some of the images that I used in the form are online from one of the most popular knife websites you can go to buy, Knife Center and Blade HQ. As I put here, before I use this database for real sales, I'll replace those images with my own, so I'm not stealing their copyrighted information. It was just for the class to have the images. Again, the business name is Cucilio. And thank you for taking the time to view my presentation.